Welcome to the news. I am Mania Osibi. First, the headlines. Federal government approves 10 billion naira for Ebola virus surveillance. SGF calls on Nigerians to be steadfast. And NUJ to hold top security summit in Abuja. Now, the news in details. Federal government has defended the economic and social reforms introduced by President Bola Tinubu's administration, insisting that Nigeria is on the path to recovery despite prevailing hardship and security challenges. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, SGF, Senator George Akumi, addressed a national press conference on Tuesday to mark the 2026 Democracy Day celebration in Abuja. Said available economic indicators show that the country's fortunes were improving under the renewed hope agenda. Senator Akumi said the Tinubu's administration remains committed to delivering on its promises as it approaches the 2027 general elections, stressing that the government will seek a revalidation of the people's mandate. According to him, Nigeria's economy has recorded steady growth and with real gross domestic product (GDP) expanding by 4.07% in the fourth quarter of 2025 and 3.89% in the first quarter of 2026. While acknowledging that the inflation and insecurity has continued to affect citizens, the SGF maintained that the government's reforms were beginning to produce tangible results. Moving on, President Bola Tinubu has approved the establishment of Presidential Task Force on Ebola virus disease preparedness and emerging public health threats and ordered the immediate release of 10 billion naira as emergency intervention funding. The fund will strengthen the operational preparedness of the National Center for Disease Control and Prevention (NCDC) and support critical national public health emergencies response activities.
In a statement by the presidential media aide, Bayo Onanuga said the Presidential Task Force on the Ebola virus management will be chaired by the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, with membership drawn from relevant ministries, departments and agencies and state representatives. The Ebola virus has recently resurfaced in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC and Uganda, which are both neighboring countries. The President's approval follows a stakeholder meeting convened under the chairmanship of the Chief of Staff to the President to review Nigeria's preparedness and develop strategies against the possible importation of the Ebola virus into Nigeria. President Tinubu also directed all states hosting international airports and international border corridors as well as relevant MDAs to submit their plans, funding requirements, intervention needs for consideration and coordinated implementation. Additional measures to put in place by the task force are intensification of passenger screening at all international airports, including enhanced temperature checks and crowd control protocols, enhanced monitoring of passengers arriving through high-risk airline routes, including Air Uganda, Rwanda Air, Air Tanzania, Air Angola, Kenya Airways, and Ethiopian Airlines, and immediate activation of referral and isolation centers at Lagos and Abuja international airports with other airports. Additional measures to be put in place by the task force are intensification of passenger screening at all international airports, including enhanced temperature checks and crowd control protocols, enhanced monitoring of passengers arriving through high-risk airline routes, including Air Rwanda, Air Uganda, Air Tanzania, Air Angola, Kenya Airways, and Ethiopian Airlines, and immediate activation of referral and isolation centers at Lagos and Abuja international airports with other airports. He mandated that the advisory group consult with security, diplomatic and aviation bodies with a view to regulating flights from affected and designated high-risk countries. The task force is further directed to designate specific airports or terminals for high-risk flights to enable control screening and isolation procedures. Mania, OCB, Asa Television News. In a state,
the Transmission Company of Nigeria (TCN) has formally granted access to Mainstream Energy Solutions Limited, operator of Kainji Hydro Power Plants in Niger State, to commence the Kainji Switchyard Units 1G3 and 1G4 base construction project at the Kainji Transmission Substation. The physical handover of the 2 times 330 kV base construction site is intended to facilitate the start of construction activities, including civil, electrical, and mechanical works, as well as testing, commissioning, and all the approved projects.
After completion, the 220 MW capacity base will enable the evacuation of the 2 additional 1G3 and 1G4 turbines with capacity to generate 110 MW each. This is to be installed in Kainji Power Station, Niger State. During the signing and handover ceremony on behalf of TCN, General Manager Materials Controller Stores and Chairman of the Project Technical Committee, Engineer Abdulkader Adamu, stated that the event marked a critical milestone and that its execution will enable TCN evacuate power that will be generated by MESL's new turbines after completion into the national grid. He commended the management of the Mainstream Energy Solutions Limited for their cooperations and commitment towards improving electricity supply to Nigerians, noting that the project is to be carried out solely by MESL at no cost to TCN. The project is scheduled to be completed by December 2026. Responding, the Chief Technical Officer of Mainstream Energy Solutions Limited, Engineer Kelba Greasy, expressed appreciation to TCN for granting sites access and assured that the project will be completed within the agreed time. Mania, OCB, Asset Television News.
Bayes University's auditorium was filled with scholars, students, and traditional leaders on Tuesday, June 9, 2026, as Vice Chancellor Professor Abiodun Adeniyi delivered the institution's 7th inaugural lecture titled How Your Village is Following You: Mobility, Memory, and Meditated Persistence of Belonging. Professor Adeniyi challenged the old idea that migration means a clean break. He said the world now lives in an age of unprecedented mobility, connectivity, and data generation, but identities endure and origins still shape humans. According to him, the village is a moral archive, a symbolic anchor, and a continuing source of identification, stressing that individuals may live physically without ever departing is unlike earlier migrants. According to him, who cut ties in the 21st century, migrants stay connected through phones, social media, video calls, and messaging apps. Physical distance, he said, no longer equals social absence, maintaining that migration has become a continuous experience of circulation, connection, and networked presence. The Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, will on Tuesday 18th and Friday 19th June 2026 convene on a 2-day National Security Summit in Abuja, the nation's capital, to deepen collaboration between the media and security agencies in the overall interest of national stability and development. The summit has the theme Media and Security Agencies as Partners in Nation Building. In a statement signed by the chairman of the organizing committee, Comrade Abimbola Oyetunde, the Security Summit is conceived as a high-level platform for a robust dialogue on how journalists and security operatives can work together more effectively in safeguarding the country, managing information during crisis, and strengthening public confidence in national institutions. It will bring together senior government officials, heads of security agencies, media leaders, editors, civil society organizations, and other critical stakeholders in Nigeria. And that's the size of our bulletin on the hour. Do follow us on our social media handles. I am Mania Osibi. Many thanks for watching.